So I thought it might be a good idea for me to record going over some mixed problems and my thought process and kind of the best way to attack and visualize things. So some of these, it might be a little bit of a different way to do it, and I'll show you both of the ways if I think there's both of the ways that are applicable or easy, but usually one way, there's a certain way that is the easiest. So the first one is when you have x to the 6 divided by x to the 4, and that's to the power of 3. Okay, so one way that I would do it is simplify what's in the brackets first. So we know that we subtract top minus bottom, so 6 minus 4, that gives us 2. And remember that that's to the power of 3. And this equals, right, we multiply them, so x to the 6. An alternative way of doing this would be to expand out the brackets first. So remember that you are timesing itself, okay? So you need to make sure that you multiply each thing in the bracket. So we are going to go x to the 18, because that's 6 times 3, x to the 12, 4 times 3, and if we simplify this, 18 minus 12, well, that's also 6. So for this, it was actually quite easy doing it both ways, but I would actually recommend simplifying where possible. So I would actually recommend the first way, because it's just a lot nicer to not write out fractions all the time, because I find that the lines, you kind of like, they're not quite enough to write a fraction. I hate having to like write fractions over normal lines. In like a normal line, I use like, so this is your lines. I usually have this, and I have like 1/2, and it just looks a little bit messy after a while. Right, next one. So we have 2x squared to the power of 3 divided by x squared. So the best way to do this, again, would be that you're imagining always when you have a fraction that there's another bracket around the top. Okay, so I would simplify the top first and then divide. The reason why we did this one up here was because they were both in brackets. So, well, the whole fraction was enclosed by the brackets, whereas this has only got the top half enclosed by brackets. So we are going to do 2 to the 3, which is 8, and then we do 2 times 3, which is 6, and we are going to divide that by x squared. And then we know what to do. We don't have any numbers, so we don't have to divide by a number. So now we can do 8, and we're going to write our x, and we do 6 minus 2, which is 4, and that is our answer. The next one is this, 2x and to the power of 3. So you have to imagine again that the bottom has some extra brackets wrapping around it, and you're going to simplify the bottom. So where possible, you might have to simplify the top and then simplify the bottom, or you can do simplification in the same step and then do that. I might actually give you one of those. I might have to make one up. So we're going to write our top out as we normally would. We have 8 to the x 3. Right, and then we're going to divide off. Okay, so we're going to subtract 1x from the top and 1x from the bottom. So we're left with 1 over 8 x squared. Right, next one is having a number on the top and the bottom. So you may be thinking, why can't I just cross off the 4 on both sides, because there's a 4 on the top and a 4 on the bottom. The reason is because this 4 is in brackets, okay? And that 4 is actually 16 because we're going to square it. So our top becomes 16x to the 4, and then we divide it by 4x cubed. Okay, 16 divided by 4, this is 4x, and we end up with x to the power of 1. So as I said, I might come up with create you one that requires simplification on the top and the bottom first. So here we go. So 3x squared to the power of 3 divided by 2x to the power of 4. Okay, so our top, we're going to end up with 27x to the 6 divided by 16x to the 4. Okay, now one thing is you may be thinking, am I able to simplify those numbers? Well, you've got to remember that we did 3 to the power of 3, and remember that 3 is a prime number, and we also did 2 to the power of 4 to get 16, and that is also a prime number. Now, because both of these are actually made up out of prime numbers and they're not sharing a prime number, there is no common factor that they share, so we cannot simplify them. So it's just going to end up being 27x squared over 16. It's a bit ugly, but it is what it is. I'll later on show you how you can work out prime factors of things to easily divide things or to find some co-prime numbers in anything, and it will be very useful for you because of the no calculation situation.